If you have less than $10,000 in your bank account right now, you're making one critical mistake that's going to keep you poor forever. And I'm going to prove it to you using actual numbers. Look, I know what you're thinking. You don't have enough money to save. Bills keep piling up. Rent keeps going up. Everything costs more than it used to. But here's what nobody tells you about being broke. It's not about how much you make. The average person in America will earn over $2 million in their lifetime. $2 million. And most of them will die with nothing. So the question isn't how much you're making. The question is, where is all that money actually going? Stay until the end to understand where they go. Leave a like and let's start. Let me show you something that's going to mess with your head. Right now, the average American has a net worth of negative $5,000. That means literal babies are richer than grown adults who have jobs. Think about that. Newborn has $0 and zero debt. They're already ahead of most people watching this video. And here's the part that really gets me. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, even someone working minimum wage for their entire working life will make over $1 million in total earnings. If you're making the median US income, which is about $60,000 a year, you're on track to earn $3 million over your career. $3 million is going to pass through your hands. So why are you broke? The reason is simple. You're spending money on things that don't matter, and I'm not talking about your daily coffee. I'm talking about the big stuff that's eating up 30, 40, sometimes 50% of your paycheck before you even see it. Let me break down what's actually happening with your money. The Federal Reserve did a study that found Americans spend an average of 35% of their income on debt payments. Not rent, not food. Debt, payments, car loans, credit cards, student loans, mortgages that are too expensive. You're giving over a third of everything you earn to banks. And those banks are using your money to make more money while you're stuck wondering why you can't get ahead. Credit card companies are making an average of 24% interest on your debt. Let's put that in perspective. If you're trying to save money and put it in the stock market, you're hoping for maybe 9 or 10% returns in a good year. Meanwhile, you're paying 24% on your credit card debt. You're literally running uphill with a backpack full of rocks. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a step-by-step plan to fix this. It's not complicated, but it's going to require you to make some changes. And I'm warning you right now, some of these changes are going to hurt. You're going to have to give up stuff you like. You're going to have to admit that you've been making mistakes, but if you actually follow this, in 5 years you'll look back and wonder why you waited so long. Step 1. The Buy Nothing Challenge. This is exactly what it sounds like. For the next 30 days, you buy nothing except absolute necessities. And I mean absolute. Rent, utilities, basic groceries, gas to get to work, insurance you're legally required to have. That's it. Disconnect your credit card from Amazon right now. Leave your wallet at home when you go to work. Make it physically impossible to spend money. Buy the cheapest groceries you can find. Pack your lunch every single day. If you can't afford it in cash, you can't afford it. I know this sounds extreme, but here's the thing. I've done this. When I was taking home $2,000 a month early in my career, I lived in a house with 6 roommates. I shared a bedroom with one other person. 2 dudes, 2 beds, looking at each other every night before we went to sleep. This was when I had a decent job. I could have afforded my own place, but I chose not to because I understood something most people don't. Wealth is a ratio between what you earn and what you need. The number 1 rule of money is spend less than you make. Sounds simple, right? But look at your bank account. If you're broke, you're breaking that rule every single month. The reason I'm asking you to do this challenge is not to punish you. It's to show you something. At the end of 30 days, you're going to realize you didn't need 90% of the stuff you normally buy. That money you spent on takeout, new shoes, streaming services you barely use, going out on weekends. All of that was a choice, and every dollar you spent was a dollar that couldn't work for you. Step 2. Save your first emergency fund. Here's what kills most people who try to save money. They set up this perfect budget, they're doing great for 3 weeks, and then their car breaks down, or their laptop dies, or they get sick and have to pay a medical bill, and they have no money saved, so what do? They put it on a credit card, and now they're back to square one, except now they have even more debt. This is why your first goal is to save between $1,000 and $5,000. This is not your real emergency fund. This is your proof of concept emergency fund. This is you proving to yourself that you can actually save money and not touch it. Put this money in a separate savings account. Don't get a debit card for it. Make it annoying to access. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to have an emergency. It might be your AC breaking in the summer. It might be your tyre blowing out. It might be something you can't even predict right now. But something will happen. Because unexpected expenses are actually completely expected. If you look at any 12-month period, you probably have something unexpected happen about once a month. You just don't know which unexpected thing it's going to be. And if you want to build your emergency fund even faster, you can just build your YouTube channel from zero, since YouTube is the golden opportunity of this decade. And I can help you in my free community in the link below. So when that happens, instead of panicking and going into debt, you're going to have this money sitting there. You're going to use it, fix the problem, and then build it back up. And this is where the habit starts to form. Here's something I want you to understand. When I was making $1 million a month, I was living on less than $15,000 a month, personally. Our rent was $1,200. We'd go out to eat maybe twice a month and get appetizers at a chain restaurant and feel like we were living large. I'm not telling you this to brag. I'm telling you this because the habit of living below your means is what allows you to take advantage of opportunities when they come up. The reason I was able to start my first business was because I had saved $50,000 working a regular job. I wasn't making crazy money. I made about $60,000 my first year out of college, maybe 70 or 80 the next year. I saved $50,000 after taxes by keeping my expenses low. If I hadn't had that savings, I never would have been able to take that risk, and that risk changed my entire life. Step 3. Pay off your debt. Now we get to the fun part. You've got money saved. You've proven you can control your spending. Now it's time to kill your debt. There are 2 ways to think about paying off debt: the logical way and the psychological way. The logical way says pay off the highest interest rate first because that's costing you the most money. But I'm going to tell you to ignore that. Use the psychological way. List out all your debts from smallest to largest. I don't care about the interest rates right now. Pay off the smallest one first. Why? Because you need wins. You need to see progress fast, or you're going to give up. Let's say you have 3 credit cards. One has a balance of $500, one has $1,500, and one has $5,000. You pay off that $500 one first. Boom, it's gone. You close that account. You feel amazing. That feeling of progress is what's going to keep you going when it gets hard. Then you take everything you were paying on that first card and you add it to what you're paying on the second card. You pay that one off. Now you've got 2 cards completely eliminated, and all that money is going toward the last one. This is called the debt snowball, and it works because humans are not logical. We're emotional. We need to feel like we're winning. Here's the thing about debt that most people don't get. Every dollar you pay toward debt is a guaranteed return. If your credit card charges 24% interest, paying that off is a 24% return on your money. You can't get that in the stock market. You can't get that anywhere else. It's guaranteed. And I need you to understand how much this debt is actually costing you. If you have $10,000 in credit card debt at 24% interest, and you only make minimum payments, you're going to pay over $24,000 total. You're going to pay $14,000 in interest alone. That's $14,000 that could have been invested, could have been saved, could have been used to build wealth. Instead, it's going straight to the bank. So here's my recommendation. If you have a car payment, get rid of the car, trade it in, and buy a cheap car with cash. I drove cars with over 100,000 miles for years. I didn't care what people thought. I cared about not having a payment. Every car I've ever owned, I bought in cash. Used. Sometimes ugly. I had a client tell me once that I should take better care of my car because it was dirty and hadn't been washed in forever. You know what I told her? I told her I was too busy building a business to care about what my car looked like. That was the right decision. Because now I can buy any car I want. And I still choose not to because I'd rather invest that money. The car gets you from point A to point B. That's it. If you're spending $600 a month on a car payment, you're working 6 days every month just to pay for the thing that gets you to work. Does that make sense to you? Step 4. Build your real emergency fund. Once your debt is paid off except for your mortgage, which we'll get to later, now you build your real emergency fund. This is 3 to 6 months of living expenses in cash. Let's say your basic expenses are $3,000 a month. You need $9,000 to $18,000 saved up in a savings account. Not invested. Not in stocks. in a boring savings account that pays you maybe 5 or 6% interest. This money is your safety net. This is what allows you to take risks in other areas of your life, because you know that if something goes wrong, if you lose your job, if you have a medical emergency, if your entire industry collapses, you've got time to figure it out. And here's what's crazy. When you have this money saved, your entire relationship with money changes. You stop making decisions based on fear. You stop taking jobs you hate because you're desperate for the paycheck. You can actually think long-term instead of just surviving paycheck to paycheck. This is where saving money actually starts to make you money. Because now you can see opportunities. You can invest in yourself. You can start a side business. You can negotiate better at your job because you're not terrified of getting fired. Step 5. Invest 15%. Now we're getting into the wealth building phase. You've got no debt except maybe your house. You've got your emergency fund. Now it's time to invest. Take 15% of your pre-tax income and invest it every single month. Automate this. Set it up so the money comes out before you even see it. Make it easy to save and hard to spend. Now, I'm not going to tell you exactly what to invest in because I'm not a financial advisor, and this isn't investment advice. But I'll tell you what I told my team. For most people, a simple index fund that tracks the overall stock market is going to be fine. It historically returns about 9 to 10% per year over long periods of time. Let me show you why this matters. If you invest $500 a month into an index fund that averages 9% returns, in 40 years you'll have over $2 million. If you invest $1,000 a month, you'll have over $4 million. And here's the part that's going to blow your mind. Every $250 you save per month is roughly $1 million in 40 years. So if you're spending $250 a month on things you don't need, that's $1 million you're throwing away. That pair of shoes you want to buy for $200, if you invested that money instead, it would be worth over $6,000 when you retire. So the question is, would you pay $6,000 for those shoes? Because that's what you're actually paying. But here's what I actually recommend more than investing in index funds. Invest in yourself. If I had to choose between putting $10,000 in the stock market or putting $10,000 into learning a new skill, starting a business or getting better at what I do, I'd choose myself every single time. Because here's the math. If you put $10,000 in the stock market and it grows 10%, you make $1,000. Great, but if you take that $10,000 and use it to increase your earning power, you could make an extra $50,000 that year. Maybe more. Your ability to earn money is your biggest asset. Invest in that first. Learn skills that make you more valuable. Start businesses. Take calculated risks. Once you're making good money, then you can start putting serious money into passive investments. Step 6. Pay off your house. This is the final step, and it's optional depending on your situation. But if you own a house and you have a mortgage, your goal should be to pay it off. I know some people will say you should invest instead because you can make more than your mortgage interest rate. And mathematically, they might be right, but there's something psychological about owning your home free and clear. No bank can take it from you. No matter what happens with your job or the economy, you have a place to live. When your house is paid off and your cars are paid off, your fixed expenses drop to almost nothing. Property taxes, insurance, utilities, food. That's it. If you're only working 2 days a month to cover your basic expenses, the other 20 days of work are pure wealth building. This is the position of power you want to be in. This is when your money really starts to compound. Because you're not stressed about making next month's mortgage payment. You can take bigger risks. You can invest more aggressively. You can focus on building instead of just surviving. Now let me tie this all together with something that's going to change how you think about money forever. Remember how I said the average American spends 35% of their income on debt payments? That money is making someone rich. It's either making you rich or it's making the banks rich. There's no third option. The money exists, the question is just who controls it. If you take an extra job, drive Uber on weekends, work overtime, pick up extra shifts, whatever, and make an extra $2,500 a month, and you invest that money instead of spending it, in 55 years at 9% returns, you'll have $52 million. $52 million. That money is being made by someone whether you like it or not. The question is just who gets it. Do you want it to go to banks and credit card companies? Or do you want it to go to you? Because here's the truth, if you don't change your habits, you're going to make millions of dollars in your lifetime and you're going to die broke. And someone else is going to take that money and build generational wealth with it. You can work the exact same amount, make the exact same money. And the only difference between being broke and being a multi-millionaire is what you do with the money once it hits your account. Look, I get it. This is hard. Giving up stuff you like is hard. Watching your friends go out while you stay home is hard. Driving an old car while everyone else has something new is hard. But you know what's harder? Being 65 years old and realizing you worked for 40 years and have nothing to show for it. That's harder. You have a choice to make right now. Do you want to look rich or do you want to be rich? Because you can't have both. Not yet, anyway. If you want to look rich, keep doing what you're doing. Buy the nice car, live in the expensive apartment, go out every weekend, wear designer clothes, look good on Instagram, and 30 years from now, you'll still be broke. Or you can choose to actually be rich. Live below your means for the next 5 to 10 years. Save aggressively. Invest in yourself. Build skills. Start businesses. And in a decade, you'll pass everyone who's trying to look rich right now. I lived in my gym because I couldn't afford rent and didn't want to waste money on it. I slept there illegally for months. I had clients tell me I looked homeless. And you know what? They were kind of right. But I was willing to do that because I knew it was temporary. And now I'm here in this building, in this office, because I was willing to sacrifice what I wanted then for what I wanted more. The question is, are you willing to do the same? Because everything I've told you in this video works. I know it works because I've done it, and I've watched hundreds of other people do it. But it only works if you actually do it. So here's what I want you to do right now. Pause this video and go check your bank account. Look at how much you have saved. If it's less than $10,000, you need to make a decision today, right now. Are you going to keep making excuses or are you going to fix this? Start with the Buy Nothing Challenge tomorrow. Disconnect your credit card from Amazon tonight. Tomorrow morning, pack your lunch, walk past the coffee shop. Every single dollar you don't spend is a dollar working for you instead of against you. This is going to be uncomfortable. You're going to want to quit. But I promise you, 5 years from now, you're going to be so grateful you started today. Your future self is watching you right now. Don't let them down. Oh, anyway, I opened a new completely free community where I explain how to create and scale your YouTube channel. After an experience with over 10 successful channels, there I will give you all my strategies and tips to monetize and scale your faceless YouTube channel, and I will help you step by step. Since YouTube is the golden opportunity of 2026 if done well, I'm waiting for you. Just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is for educational purposes only, and any results depend on your own decisions and actions.